I'm Nabila Garib, and I am a board member of the Arab American Women Business Council. And this segment today is about her path to success. We're focused on Arab American women and women in general and their path to success. We have interviewed a lot of women in the past few months and dedicated to the community and their community leaders. And we've interviewed politicians, business owners, educators, professors, and entrepreneurs. Today, we're going to be talking a completely different topic. We're going to be focused on women voters and women issues in society and the community in general. Today with us is a friend, an activist, a community leader, and this is a dear friend of mine as well. This is Jacclin Fakhoury Zeidan. And Jacclin is a tremendous educator. She is a community liaison for the public schools in the area or local public schools. She's a mom, she's a daughter, she's a housewife. She just makes up what I consider path to success. Welcome to the show, Jacclin.
Thank you so much, Nabila.
Let's start by you telling us a little bit about your background and how did you get to this position?
Well, I'll first start with, if I go back in history and we talk about our friendship and our connection, I think where I came from, which included your family and so many of our parents back then, instilled such a drive and a passion for justice and diversity and love for everything and for all. And I won't go into details of certain things that have happened in my life probably that has driven me to looking out into the world and seeing what's not right and going out and grabbing it. So, and as time went on, you know, I've always been raised in a family where education is always important. And it's always been a key goal to success in life. So as time went on, I went to a local Catholic preschool all the way to high school. Nuns killed me. But went and moved on, had some things that, you know, you had some stumbles in the way in life, you know, which is fine. I look at the actual degree in itself sometimes doesn't give you the experience that you get when you're out there in the real world. Mm-hmm. So I think I attribute my experiences and my learning and where I'm at today from the experiences I've had. I lead the success, the starting point for me, I think, is the kids. And because education has always been important, and it was always a goal of mine, I had a set goal for my own three kids. And so far I have one down, two to go. And so I've always been a volunteer. I volunteered for the school community, committees, task force, numerous things within our local public school area that I work for. And I volunteered PTSA for quite a few years and still am involved.
So what's a community liaison does? What do you do on a daily day? What do you do?
You know, I was offered this position and I look at it and I finally said, I'm doing what I love. I truly love what I'm doing right now. And what is that? That's me going to work every day and targeting kids, even parents that are having issues maybe amongst their own circle, their own family, and also maybe between parent, teacher, student, teacher. It's that complete circle where I basically will come in and, you know, mentor or mediate, and then also a lot of times finding directions or resources or course of action for whatever it is that the child or the family might be failing in, basically.
Very interesting. So your job in the real world is connecting the dots.
Yeah, so that's a good way to put it.
So you take the family, you take the children, you take their activities, you try to connect the dots, help them with resources, find ways to connect them with the real, with what they need to get them path to success.
Absolutely. The one sad part about a lot of times is, you know, when I deal directly with the kids, they're looking for that connection, that compassion, you know, that they sometimes, unfortunately, even within our own community, I think we're blinded to that sometimes. There are kids that are out there that don't have that connection, and they can find that with me.
Very interesting. So in your role in the community, you're meeting a lot of people, you're connected. So this is a very special year for all of us as American citizens. So let's focus a little bit on women voters.
Yes.
And give me your perspective. What makes up the women voters? Who are these women voters, and what are they looking for in this year's election?
I will say that I'm very passionate about my voting, to the point when each of my children went in. My daughter, who is my pride and joy and heartbeat, was the first time she voted this year. I went into the voting booth with her, took pictures of her. She could have killed me, but that's how passionate I am about it. And I think I've instilled in her the same thing, that we as women, if our voices are not heard, we will get lost in the shuffle. And we've been lost in the shuffle for years and if you go back hundreds of years. And people have fought for us to get into the position that we're at right now. And it's really sad. I look now and I'm thinking, why are we fighting things now that we've already fought 100 years ago? And I'm talking about, you know, our right to vote, our right for our own decisions for our own bodies, you know, things like that. You look and you watch a panel of men making decisions for women, whether it be healthcare, whether it be the Letty Ledbetter Act, you know, fair pay for a job. I mean, come on, why are we 2012 still fighting for that? So now my drive is even more, you know, because if we don't shatter that ceiling as women in getting out to vote, we will lose, and we will lose from there's a lot of factors that we will lose out on. 51% of the society are women, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, we're probably one of the, you know, we really vote with intelligence. We educate ourselves when we vote. It's amazing to see the change in the evolution of women.
You know, I see
voting.
women voters who are passionate. You know, they vote for a reason.
Yes.
They determine who to vote for a reason.
Yeah.
They develop their voting structure not based on what they see in the papers. They vote with purpose.
Yes.
So if you're looking in general at women voters, what are they looking for in this year's election? What would drive them? What would be that passion that would drive them to vote?
I think to have their own voice. I look at a lot of my friends, and actually, this is my own personal opinion. You know, I look at voting and I see some things, for example, you know, there are certain issues that I don't believe in, you know. For example, I'm probably a conservative when it comes to fiscal spending. When it comes to abortion, for me personally, it's not, you know, that's not something I believe in. If you look at, you know, people's personal lives and the way they live it, when it comes to marriage or what have not, that's your own choice. That's your own way of, you know, living your life. That's not for me to judge. So for me personally, I look at that and I make that decision. For me personally, the Democratic Party fits that place for me, just because I don't need the government to tell me how to think and what to do and how to do it, you know. But I think at the same time we should be fiscally responsible. But, you know, that's something, you know, completely different. That's why I vote. I just feel like, especially in today's world, I mean, I'm beyond confused at how I feel like we're really being shut down for me.
It's fascinating because for me, I voted immediately as soon as I became an American citizen. That was my first election, and never.
And that's a pride thing too. That
I never missed.
Yeah.
I don't remember ever missing an election because to me, it's my pride, it's my purpose.
Yeah.
It's the reason that I fight every day for some human rights issues or whatever the issues that may be moving me that day or drives me.
Here's a question for you though. Do you think that we are, because we are so passionate, I think Europeaners, Middle Easterners are a little bit more politically passionate?
I think we're passionate and we feel it's our right.
Yeah.
So we wanted to observe to it. We want to practice our
We
rights.
come to this country for it.
That's
we gave
right.
up everything to come here for it.
Very good.
So it's a treasure for us to do that.
So you told me your political belief, and you've shared with me your passion. I could see it, by the way. It's going. It's filtering. It's filtering.
Let's just say
So,
my family tells me enough already.
Yeah. Well, this is not enough for me.
No,
I want
it's
more.
not. No.
I want you to share with me and the audience. Last 4 years, how did you feel about the last 4 years on issues related to women? Let's talk about health care first.
I look at things that, for example, for me personally, for my daughter, there are issues that are being blocked that I look at that is my right to be able to have. And it's beyond me that other parties want to block that in 2012. I get frustrated when I'm looking at a panel of all men who want to decide, my health issues. And then you look at things, I pay taxes and I pay all this stuff. People say, oh, you're the 47% maybe that is sitting back and doing nothing or slacking off or welching off the system. I don't think so. This is stuff that I have paid into and I have earned the right to have when I retire, or whether it be now. I look at also my kids. I have to tell you, it was the biggest relief knowing that I had my kids and I could keep them on my insurance until they found, like my oldest right now, thank God, he found a job, he's working, he's got his master's in accounting. He has his job, he has his insurance. But knowing had he got out of college and he didn't have that really kept me awake at night because it really worried me, Why wouldn't it worry any mother or any father? So how do you take that away?
That's great. And you talked a little bit about financial, that you're a conservative when it comes to spending.
Sure.
What do you feel about the stimulus? President Obama passed the stimulus money. How do you feel about that?
I listen to a lot of the economists. I'm a news fanatic, and you listen to them saying, that he didn't spend enough, and I really believe that. Sometimes you have to, how do I explain? I really want to get this point across. You listen to the other side talk about, the stimulus money and the trickle down and all that. As a business owner, I can look at it as that perspective. As a business owner, I'm looking at this. Yeah, you're giving me all these tax breaks as a business owner. Yeah, you're, all this other stuff that's coming along. But if I don't have that customer that's walking in that door spending that money, that stimulus money needs to get into their pocket for them to come into that door, for me to spend that money, for me to make that money. It doesn't work. So unless we figure out a way to preserve that middle class and get them back on their feet, it's not going to work. It just,
As Arab American women, what about ending the war in Iraq?
Oh, those are my two favorite subjects.
All right, hit on it.
So they talk about, you talk about the deficit, and oh my God, and there's so much money, and we're in debt. Well, we fail to forget that the past 8 years with George Bush, they took that money, if I'm not mistaken, from Social Security. I don't want to use the word stolen, but I will. They took that money out of there and they used it. So you have all this money going to wars that we have no business being there whatsoever. You look at Iraq right now, what did we do? Yeah, we're out of there. But if you talk to people that come and go there, I watched Rachel Maddow one time, and I'm a real big fan of, oh my God, Richard Engel, who is, to me, a connoisseur on the Middle Eastern culture and the Middle East in itself. He did a complete show on the aftermath of Iraq. So what did we really do there? We lost over 4,000 lives from women and men in the military, and nothing really was gained out of it. Now we're in Afghanistan. We're propping up a leader who is, to me, and this is my personal opinion, I will preface this, but I think a lot of people believe that. We're propping up a guy who is a drug dealer, who's has no dignity, no respect whatsoever for our military. We've lost men just not too recently. How many we've already lost from their own? It's just chaotic to me. We need to get out of there. We need to bring our money back home, and maybe all that money that's being spent there, can be brought back.
Reinvested.
You think? How much are they spending there?
Reinvested.
Not including foreign money foreign aid that we're giving places.
This is an amazing experience for me tonight. I'm interviewing a young lady who is an activist, and you heard her passion about being an activist in the community. You have heard about her background as a liaison to a school district where she connects the dots, build families, put them together, make sure they have the resources they need. But I've got to ask her one question that I cannot go home without asking you tonight, Jacclin.
Yes.
Tell me what your two things. One, what you are doing in regard to this election.
Well, first of all, I'm constantly educating. I am constantly educating myself also. But the important thing is I just recently actually did a registration drive, and I was so worried because I had a set goal, you know, and I superseded the goal, so I was really happy. We registered quite a few voters, actually. It was really, really nice. So in regards to that election, I'm really out there trying to educate and get as many registered voters as possible. And I think that drive for me also comes from the lack of voter suppression. I've never in my life thought I'd see in 2012 watch people or politicians literally suppress people's votes, and the way it's being done is beyond me. I just can't believe it. So that's the other drive in me, is getting out there and making sure that nobody has that vote taken away from them. People have died for that vote. And people in the past have died for us to be able to keep that vote, you know. So
that's our job to keep it moving.
Yeah, I tell you, when I heard voter suppressions and I heard the stories and the details of how it's being done, it just blew my mind. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't take that away from us.
Very interesting.
You know.
So with 51% of the voters are women, what would be a message you would send to the women voters?
Like I said, most of them are pretty much educated voters. Women are really, like we talked earlier before we started, we really educate ourselves on the issues and what we want and what we need and what we like. But other than that, please don't be complacent. I hope this doesn't sound really bad, but I think in this country sometimes we tend to be a little bit more complacent than more so. So I hope they're not complacent. Really get out the vote, because it's really important. Educate yourself on these issues. This election, this specific election here and now, November 6th, is really critical. It's going to set the stage for a lot of things. I go back to the George Bush and Gore. Only 500 and something votes away with the whole Florida issue. Had that, you know, gone the other way, where we, you know, it might have been a whole different world. We might not have Iraq and Afghanistan and everything like that. So that one vote does matter. You getting out there does matter. You bringing out 10 more people does matter, because we could have been without a war in Iraq and Afghanistan had we probably all done what we needed to do.
As you can hear, Jacclin's message to the women voters is continue your effort, educating yourselves and the community that you're surrounding, and don't forget to vote. It's November 6th. But Arab American women in general, we need your support. We need you to really practice your rights as an American voter. And this is a very important election to all of us, all the women. And I wanted to sincerely thank Jacclin for her time today, for her energy, God, for her passion, for her excitement. You just met a very fabulous young lady who really makes things happen. Jacclin, I wanted to thank you very much for your time and effort this evening, and we hope to hear from you again.
Oh, you'll hear from me, but I won't go without saying that you are just as amazing and you are just as big of an activist as anybody else is.
Thank you.
And you are one of the many professional women, and I have so much respect for you, and I love you.
Thank you.
You're amazing.
Thank you very much.